Thank you for coming. It's so fun to see you all here, especially because a lot of you are very supportive supporters, and I appreciate that. This is most of our team. We have a few people missing. And one person that's on worship team that's going to come join us. Yeah, not everybody can make it. But we're just going to tell you some highlights from our trip. This is our team with Philip's family. If you guys know Philip Darko, he and Hannah are the tiny ones in the middle and the back. We're going to get everybody on one screen. And then this is their family. I'll just point them out to you so you know. This is their daughter Eunice. She's their adopted daughter. She's 19 and she just started vocational school doing catering and cooking. And then Samuel's 13, Lois is almost 10, Michael's 7, and the twins are going to be 4 this spring. And we're in front of their house, and a lot of you help to support, some of you are supporters of theirs and have helped them to build their house. You see the scaffolding on their house. So we got to tour it. When it's finished, it's going to be amazing. So they're working on that right now. So that's us. Just thank you for everyone who supported us. It's interesting. I was just talking to Dennis about chicken barbecue. Last year we decided to have a chicken barbecue at our 5K. And we kind of decided, we just decided to try it. And we pocketed $12,000 from the chicken barbecue, which was, I thought, really good for our first year. And the truth is, if we hadn't had that money, we would have had a deficit at our camp. And I was like, oh, I guess God was providing for us through something, even though I didn't know how it was going to turn out. And so I love that, especially because our first week of camp, we had 150 extra campers. How does that happen, one might ask? We have very intelligent young people, and they get an application if they come to a Bible club. And some of them made duplicates for their friends before they filled it out. So when they started loading the buses, they realized we don't have enough buses. Then they were like, this kid doesn't look familiar, and then all those things. So anyway, we ended up with a lot of extra campers, and we debated what to do. And Philip just looked at me and said, look, there's a reason that these kids are here, and they're going to hear the gospel. And he always says, I like to get them while they're young. Because once they're teenagers, they've already made probably some of them have made some poor choices, and are going down different paths. But when they're little, that's when you grab them for Jesus. So we had all our extra campers, and we just kind of revised the plan a little bit, and once we got organized, it went great. So we had 485 children, well, and under. So this picture I want to show you, because some of you helped us to get mattresses for our camp. At the very end, we kind of did a little fundraiser to raise money to buy more mattresses. And these are the mattresses. They're like they're very sturdy, they're rubber coated, and easy to wash off, and kids sleep on them. So we had plenty this year. I'm sure the little ones are sleeping 2 on 1. They're like a single bed size, but they're used to sleep, or 3. They're used to sleeping close together in their home. So anyway, the first night, we're trying to organize 485 children in the dark outside. And that was interesting. And Philip goes, Joshua, come here. I want to show you our new tables and chairs. And I was like, I was in the middle of a lot of things. And I was like, okay, want to go look at a chair now? Whatever. I didn't know what. And he showed me, they put 2 mattresses on the floor, 4 mattresses in the middle, and they made tables and chairs for all their kids. So if you helped to buy the mattresses, let me tell you, they got a lot of things. And then they went back to the Bible club and got our other tables and chairs and brought them. But the first day or 2, they were using the mattresses for sleeping and also for eating. So very resourceful, right? So everyone asks me what is my favorite part of camp, and my favorite part is always the same. You guys can put more chairs up if you want to sit in the back with the cool people. They're right there. Tammy's the coolest because she's in the front row, but so because Mike and I helped to start our program, and because I've been at all 10 camps, my favorite part is always seeing how God is raising up leaders and disciple makers to change their community, their country, and their world, which is our Arm of Hope vision statement, is literally coming to pass. And many of you, if not almost all of you, sponsor children. And I can tell you that God is doing great things, and your money is very, very well spent because you're investing in these people. So these are our college students that graduated this year. There's more, but these are the ones that were there. And many of these students were at camp the first year, 10 years ago, They would have been like 12 years old, run around, you know, getting dirty and with their friends. And here they are, look at them. The girl in the middle is Joyce, and she graduated from college and just got into law school. She's a teeny little 100-pounder with a lot of spunk and a huge brain. 50 pounds is her brain. So anyway, she's a tiny little lady, but she is so amazing. And like, we're so proud that we have a law student, and she wants to stay in her country and help people that are disadvantaged. So, wow, what a vision statement coming true. And Bintu is beside me, and I just remember her. She was always my buddy, and she just graduated with a journalism degree, and she's doing her national service. This guy is Amos, and he went to pharmaceutical school for 2 years. He wants to work in our clinic, in our pharmacy. He did like an associate's. So yeah, it's just really cool to see what God is doing and how he's raising up these young people. And they're people that he sponsored when they were like this big. And now they're adults and they're leading the camp. They're super cool. And like, here's an example. This is Kelvin, the first year of camp. I didn't even really know Kelvin. It says Calvino on his name tag. Apparently that was his cool 12-year-old name or something. That's Kelvin, and he just graduated from college with an educational degree, and he's going to be a teacher. And over the years, I've just seen Kelvin grow and mature. So I didn't even know him at first, and all of a sudden I see him up front with a microphone, and he's directing kids, and he's leading kids. He's very funny. He's so good with young people. I mean, he's going to be an amazing teacher, and he loves the Lord. So think about what he's going to do in the educational system in Ghana. And this is Tonko. Ginger and Steve sponsored him. They sponsored him from the very beginning. His mom died years ago, and Ginger's been like a mom to him, and I'm really excited because she's going to Ghana next year. I'm actually going to meet Tonko. And Tonko's amazing, and he is about 20 years old. He just graduated from high school. This is he and Mike on, I think, the 3rd year. I think it's so cute. And then this is Tonko on the left with Caden and David. And David and Tonko are 2 boys that have been in camp from the very beginning since they were little boys. This year they graduated, and they were leaders together. And these guys aren't just leading their group like, come on guys, we gotta do this. They're like leading with enthusiasm, teaching God's word. It's amazing. And that's Caden in the middle. Here, look at this. That's the first year Caden went to camp when he was 9 years old. He was in Ghana before that, but this is his first camp year. 9 years old, you can see. He's too cute. And that's Desmond, who something that we did when our kids were little, they each had a sponsored child, and they didn't pay all of it, but as they got older, then they pay all of it. And Caden, when he would work on the chickens with Mike, he'd go, Mom, here's $20 for Desmond, and he would bring part of it to me to support Desmond, and he still supports Desmond. And here's he and Desmond now. So that was the 2nd year of camp. So 9 years ago, Desmond was, I think, 3 or 4 years old. He was our youngest camper. And there he is now. I think he's 12. He's soon going to go to 2nd year camp. So just amazing to see the impact of sponsorship. And Desmond is going to be a leader someday. He's a very serious kid. He's a very respectful kid. He's obviously being raised right. And I can already see in the younger ones who are going to be the leaders. Like I knew David and Tonko were going to be leaders 10 years ago because I could just see them. And some of them are not as serious, obviously. They're normal young people. They're not all just super spiritual and great leaders, but I can see like Desmond is going to be a leader someday. And there he is. So, last story I wanted to share. This is from the first year of camp with Valerie. And this boy's name is Abbas. And Abbas was our first high school student. So the first year of but we had sponsorship 13 years ago. We only had 1 high schooler. All the rest of our kids were little. Now we had 50 or 60 kids going into high school in 1 year. We have 50 or 60 college students now, so you can see it's grown and they've grown up. So Abbas was our only high schooler, and something really neat happened this year. He messaged Brother Philip and said, some of my siblings and I want to give 5,000 CDs to support the camp. And that is really, really special to me because nobody asked them to do that, okay? And basically, they knew the camp was coming up. They're working now. 5,000 CDs is like $500 or $400. It's a lot of money in Ghana. And they said, we want to give back and support what we received. And that is really, like, those are the things I always think about that verse, Mary treasured those things in her heart. Like, there's things I treasure in my heart, and that's one of them. Because Abbas has had a little bit of it's a little bumpy road along the way, and yet he's come around and seen what God has done for him, and he's giving back. So I love that story. This is a little video. It's going to be right side up when I play it. I just want to show you how many leaders we have at camp, because we had 80-some leaders. This is the last day. We do a beach party and a pizza party. We give them appreciation gifts, and then they share testimonies. So this is the room, just to to show you how many leaders we have. This is all our high school graduates and college students who are helping us lead. So I just want to show you, it's a lot, okay? There's a lot of pizzas, like many stacks this high. So I just want to show you that because I thought it just shows you how many leaders God is raising up in Ghana, which I love. So, Erica, you're up.
Okay, so when Cheryl asked me to share, there's so many things I could share about. It's hard to pick. Thinking also about sharing about the 150 extra kids, or one of my favorite things is singing praises with all hundreds of voices with so much energy and enthusiasm, or sharing, like, I can tell you guys about themselves with people and a humbling experience it is to work with them. But I figured some of the others want to touch on some of those things, so I figured I'd talk about the Armor Hope Clinic first, and then we're going to talk about great stuff. So, we're going to rewind. Last year, the team and I, with probably about 100 other people, were in a very close space in Slums that was going to be the Arm of Hope clinic location. We had this, ceremony, groundbreaking thing, some songs, some words of encouragement, some prayer, and then all the Arm of Hope leaders and healthcare workers were asked to come forward. So I joined the group, and I got the shovel and moved a little bit of dirt to kind of commemorate this clinic is going to be built. And then, fast forward to this year, our team got waylaid a little bit, so we arrived in Slums dark. I think the power might have been out just because it was very dark. I felt really bad for people who hadn't been there before for multiple reasons, but I've been there several times, and I felt a little bit scared. Like, if I get lost, like, nobody's going to find me. There's no light. Anyway, side note. Basically, we all were wandering through the clinic in the dark with, like, flashlights dancing across the cinder block walls, and we're trying to, like, take it all in. But it was rather chaotic. There's a lot of us going in and out of, like, all of the little rooms in the clinic. But we're really glad we did. And then, some of you guys may know that I got to stay after the team left, and so I had the opportunity of going back to visit the clinic and daylight pictures. And so when you are, like, kind of wander through the slum, the little alleyways, and then there's this 3-story building that's just there. And there's, like, multiple steps to get up to the main level. That's the main level right there. To the right is the reception area where people will check in, and then the pharmacy, and then I think to the left is going to be the waiting room area, and then beyond that there's a bunch of consultation rooms. And you can see the big staircase. There's 2 levels of labs. I think radiology is going to be up there. Lots of bathrooms. Lots of bathrooms. So it's kind of fun. Maybe we can use And then there was, like, a women's ward, a pediatrics ward, a men's ward, and there's also this area for laboring women. And I'm just like blown away. I think walking through, like, it was just me and Sammy walking through. Those are all
He's one of our Armor Hope staff.
Yes, he's awesome. So just, like, kind of wandering through there really quietly and slowly, and just me, I was just struck with the wonder of what would God do in these walls in the next year, like 365 days from now, what will be happening there? And so looking out that window is, like, this apparently is the director's office. The director's office, and that's what you can see outside. I just thought it was really beautiful, but that's, like, the picture of the rooms of the slum. So there's approximately, according to some estimates, like 50,000 people who live there, and right now there's no health care facility within the slum. And so just thinking about how many hundreds of people will get care there. So after I was in Ghana, I was in Togo, and I had the opportunity to see how healthcare can truly be used effectively as a ministry to introduce people to the gospel. So that is what I just am eagerly anticipating what God will do through that clinic. Not just to meet healthcare needs, which are exceedingly there. There's so many needs. But to see how God will use those connections to reach the gospel. singing camp songs.
Nancy Erica! Nancy Erica!
Yes. And then the other thing I just wanted to reflect on with you guys is the incredible staff. So during camp, during free time, I tried to take some time to ask some of the Arm of Hope staff, like, what is it like to do your job? So this is Grace. She is the librarian, and she does much more than keep track of books. Like, she tutors kids every single day of the week. I think there's like 40 of them at a time. She comes in, helps them do their homework, it helps them do whatever they need to do. And then I also got to talk to Diana. I didn't have a picture with her. But she just like lit up with joy. She knows almost every single kid by name. She knows their story. She knows who is connected to who. And she helps get them all to school and all the school fees. It's incredible. I'll never understand what they actually do unless I live their life, because they're able to accomplish so much. They know people so well. But these two women were just overflowing with joy about like getting to work for Arm of Hope. And that was really meaningful to me. They both shared about how fun it is to work with Sir Philip, which is no surprise. But anytime he's in the office, there's food and lots of laughter. So that was just a really big blessing to me to hear them talk about their boss in such a positive light. Like, I already knew, but the more stories you hear, the more encouraging it is. And then there's some other girls that I got to talk to. Bintu, for example, is one of the Cheryl already mentioned her, but she helps lead Bible Club. And she was sharing about some of the questions that the students ask her and how it kind of like takes her aback. Like, she's surprised by like the things that they're thinking about and the questions that they have. But she's now a college graduate doing her national service, but she's still going back and working in the Bible Club to invest in these kids. So I just share all this with you to say, like, there's some really talented people who I don't know that they would have thought of themselves as talented people, but God gave them gifts, and they're just stepping out in obedience to do the next thing. And it was a really big blessing to work alongside of them. And I just encourage you guys, like, whatever God is asking you to do, they're taking the steps to help others in their community. Our community needs it too. And so what can we do? How can we be encouraged by their example too?
This is Olivia. She's not here, but she sent me this little video, which is cute.
Hello, I'm Olivia. Sadly, I could not be there to share today with the team, but I just wanted to make a quick video and just that I can share my experience with students. So I just wanted to share a quick favorite memory of mine. So one of the things was church with students and and so, a bunch of us stayed up until midnight, and we just made a little circle with our team and some staff members, and we just made a circle. We went about this year and struggled and the lessons that we had, and just what we look forward to having accomplished. It was just so amazing to be able to create the values and to talk about experiences that encouraged us to encourage them. And overall, it was just an amazing moment that I would definitely cherish. So I just wanted to share a little bit, and thank you so much.
Sorry. You're back there. Can you? It's just so much. I thought it would come through the. Ellie?
I have notes on my phone. Okay, so as you said, my name is Ellie, if you don't know me. This was my second trip to Ghana. And the last time I went was 3 years ago when I was 14. And for some reason, I just thought I would be back very soon. The following year, I was on the Ghana team, but found out 2 weeks before that I wouldn't be going, which ended up being a huge test of faith for me. So finally getting to go back this year, for some reason, I kind of just expected to experience things the same way that I had before. But from the start of camp, God was changing things up, and as Mrs. Lynn already mentioned, we ended up with an extra 150 kids that first week, which meant that I led a group of 20 4- and 5-year-olds. And as you can see, well, first, yeah. So that's a whole bunch of the kids from my team first week. As you can see, they're adorable. But it was also definitely stretched me a lot and forced me to realize that I cannot lean on my own strength. And ended up being so cool to see how God gave me peace and strength through that. And then one of the kids that I wanted to share specifically with you about was Melissa. So this is a picture from 3 years ago when I was there, and yes, yeah. Yeah, so she kind of started this joke that we were triplets. So it was really fun to know that the triplets were reunited this year, so that was really special. One of my favorite memories with her was at the end of the beach day, which this was actually then. What ended up happening was all the kids, most of the kids had gotten picked up to go back to camp in vans, but our team and a few of the Ghanaian leaders and a few of the kids were left there to wait for the vans to come back for us. And somehow they didn't end up coming back for us. So to make a long story short, we walked the entire road from the beach to the main road. And Celine and I got to walk with Melissa, and we just talked and we had the most fun time. So it was just really cool to see how, despite having such a long day, it ended up being one of my fondest memories from camp. And then that's the picture that we took when we were saying goodbye, and that's why I took that right. So, yeah.
I did kind of forget us, so we had fun anyway. Coach Greg, you're up.
Well, I'm going to echo a little bit what Erica and Cheryl said, because I had the opportunity to be involved with Armor Hope from the very beginning. I'm very fortunate to see what God is doing in Ghana. And it's amazing. I mean, it is literally amazing to see God's provision as He provides. So this is my 5th time, and I've been there the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year, and then 2 years ago, and then this past year. And each time I was able to experience the camp's been held at 3 different locations. And sometimes that's because we needed a new place, or sometimes that we were forced to have a new place. And every time God provided. And this last time, I'm sure you saw pictures. This is the 2nd year at this new location. It's incredible. And what's even more incredible is God has provided funds for Armor Hope to have their own camp. So they're going to build a camp. It's going to be even better than the last 3. And every time I go, it gets better. And we don't like to talk about numbers, but the numbers are staggering. I've been sharing with some of my friends at different organizations about Armor Hope, and she shared some numbers with me. I don't want to get caught up in numbers, but when you hear the numbers, 10 years ago, the first camp had 190 campers. This past year, we had 785. 10 years. Sponsorships. And the kids are making a difference in the community and coming out of the universities because of your support. That's what makes it happen. You know, God is using Armor Hope in big ways in Ghana. And the first year they had 77 kids sponsoring. Like Cheryl said, they were all elementary except for a boss. This year, I left my glasses at home. Is it 700 or 750? 700 kids. 700 kids getting education, getting to know Jesus through Armor Hope. And it just, when I sit down and think about it and see what God's doing, it's incredible. It's almost supernatural. God is blessed in the clinic. You know, and Erica didn't tell you that view is where her desk is going to go, that office window. She failed to mention that. But I encourage her every way I can. So, lastly, I'd like to say now, I don't know how Erica got a lot of time because I was told 2 minutes. So. The reason I go is relationships. I mean, we sponsor 5 kids. It's great to see the kids. 4 or 5 kids, I don't know. Thank you, Jeff. But anyways, it's great to have relationships. And this is a gentleman, his name is Vincent, and he really got to know him. And then if you go ahead, did you go another one? Did you get this one? Okay, so this is my 3rd year at camp, and this is him. And the first couple of years we went to camp, that's me, I'm younger. So the first couple of years we went to camp, we really put the camp on, and they helped us. But the last couple of years, it's not the case. Go back to the So this is my second week of kids, and then here he is. And he was a leader, and I just helped him. He took, and like Cheryl said, they just don't lead like, they lead with passion, conviction, and it's amazing to see in every little thing, like, he didn't just do it. He got the kids involved. On the story time, he had you read the story, and then he facilitated the discussion. It's just, it is, I don't know, it's so awesome. I don't know what other word to say. And so this was the group, and then what other picture did I have? That's him, yeah. Yeah, that's just me. So we do a soccer thing, and that's the Arma Hope Cup, and I started that when I went there. They do a little round robin tournament in the afternoon, but I would just say, what can you do to help? Continue to do what you're doing. You can support, we have so many fundraisers. Support the fundraisers if you go. Because seeing, I'm glad some new people are going every year. Seeing is believing. I mean, pictures don't do it justice. When you see, and like, it was scary the first time, like Erica said, this is the first time we went into the slum in the dark. I know Mike and Cheryl have in the past, but it's like, it was kind of scary, but it was kind of fun at the same time. You guys did the movie, he Mike said. Yeah, did the movie about the slum. Yeah, he told me the story. So, but I would just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. If you can't go, support those who go. It's a great program. I have lots of stories. How I got there the first year is amazing in itself. But once I got there, I fell in love, and I keep wanting to go back whenever there's room. So I just had a great time, and I just want to thank all you guys who have supported me.
When Rylan comes down, he's there, so mean. Rylan's on worship.
So, I'm Celine. So, last time I went, I was 14 years old, and I went at the same time Ellie. And then, like Ellie, I thought I'd be able to go the year after that, but then I couldn't after all. So, it was super fun to go as a 17-year-old, and I didn't go with my dad this time. And it was very interesting and cool to see how different it was when I went as a 14-year-old and as a 17-year-old, and how much more I felt like I learned, and also how much I felt like I could contribute more to my team. That I helped lead just because of my different life experiences and things. So these are the two girls that my family sponsors, and I got to lead the first week with the girl in the pink pants, Abigail. And it was super fun. I hadn't met, I don't think, who the two girls, Abigail, Martha, that our family sponsored the first year I went. So it was super fun to get to know Abigail and meet with her first week. And then the second week, I learned with the same person that was on their team, and our team won.
So there's proof of that, if you want to see it. Notice these guys are not clapping. They're pretty excited over there. It's a very stiff competition. And you get like a little plastic, it's more about recognition, honestly. It's about the recognition. There's Celine and her team. We play the music, So there they are.
And one thing I learned was, or that God taught me while I was there, some of you might know that my family just adopted 3 kids in Colombia. So it was a little stressful coming back then, because I think it was 2 weeks in between coming back from a month in Colombia and then leaving for Ghana. So it was a little stressful getting back into the routine. So I'm the oldest, and I felt responsible for making sure my siblings were getting adjusted and stuff. But God was teaching me that I don't have to be in charge of all that necessarily, and that He'll take care of my family long and long.
I'll let you go. I'll let somebody go before you. All right, Erica.
I wasn't going to stand up, but I tweaked my neck. You know that's when you're getting old, is when you're like, you blow dry your hair and you tweak your neck. So. You can't like turn. Anyway, this is me and Martha. Actually, that's who Celine was talking about. So she bragged that she won the first week, but we won, or she won the second week, we won the first week.
And we tied.
Okay, we tied.
No animosity on this.
talk a little bit about her, but I first wanted to talk about Brother Philip. So I've heard many times before I even went over there that he's the boss, and I thought it was like a joke. When you go, you will see he is the boss. Like, and not in like a scary sense, but in the sense that like everyone looks up to him, and he is like at 6 places at once, and like just constantly doing stuff. Like, he is amazing. Like, and to see where it came from 10 years ago, clearly he's listening to God, and it's working. So I want to talk about the leaders. The leaders there are incredible. I mean, the kids obviously are incredible too, but I feel like I had a connection with a lot more of the leaders. You were able to like sit down and have discussions with them and just hear about their life, and it's awesome. So Martha, I feel like quickly became one of my favorites because she was my like co-leader. But I had heard too, before I even went over there, that like years ago, like 5 years ago or whatever, like the team would go over and kind of run the camp, and now they run the camp, and it's so true. Like the first day I went there, it was a little overwhelming. Like, one, the heat, you're going from like Christmas to 100 degrees over there, so it's just overwhelming in itself. You're tired, and then having 500 kids come off a bus, you're just like, wow. Like, it's a lot in one day. And I helped to come up with like crafts and games and stuff, but to see like the kids actually doing it and seeing it in action, like, it's so cool. It's so cool to see them all do their rotations and stuff. So it was just awesome to have a leader that, like, the first day I could kind of just sit there and observe and kind of just take it all in and know that like she's got this. And then by like the second day, it's kind of, you can then work more as a team and like give more input and help lead and stuff. But it's just, I just think that the leaders are amazing and they're very well trained.
There's Erica with some little cute eyes.
Yes, she was on my team. Oh, and our team came up, so the first week I was the Mints, we came up with the Mighty Mighty Mints. If you go, you have to come up with a chant because they will chant it.
Their color, so we have 20 colors, and the debate now is we need more teams, and is there more than 20 colors? We actually had this discussion this week. There it is. They get a little more teeth. Yeah, Mike's still in the 8 crayon box. It's really So Martha, who is her leader, this is a side note, but no leader has won both weeks ever, and the Star Master didn't even realize it was the same leader because she was a different color. Because the first week they were one color, and then we had to switch things around a lot the second week because we had less kids and all this. And we didn't even realize, because Martha was so quiet about it, didn't even brag. We had some that would have been
It's the American team. The American team were bragging and all the guys.
No, she's just so quiet, and we didn't realize till after that she won both weeks the same year. Mike's like, oh, maybe I should have adjusted things. It was a completely different other leader helping her, so it was just her. So she's taking a little victory for her. Okay, Sherry. Oh, wait, let's go back to Ryland. I'm gonna go back to Ryland. Excuse me while I go back. That way, stay it's like always.
Hey guys, I'm Ryland. What's up? I led worship at Ghana, and it was like the most, that was my incredible experience, just like seeing men in their hearts for worship. Like here we just see it as a part of Sunday service, but it's like an actual experience for them. They like give it all up. There's no like, they understand the sanctity of worship. And I'm just passionate about worship personally, and just seeing that, like, there's no like going up there with your hands in your pockets, just going through the motions so you can sit down. It's like they are speaking to the Lord through their worship. That was my favorite thing also. And I got paired with Albert the first week. And Albert and I are both super competitive, so it was perfect.
We still need you.
Yeah,
He said he got second place 2 times in a row and he doesn't want to happen again. And it didn't happen again, we got 5th. So.
we had to shut it down. He was talking smack the whole time. We had to shut it down.
We were really confident. So we were yelling at the kids in games, Noah's vicious. I think there's a picture of us just screaming. I don't know why they're smiling because. I just love that. The first week was my favorite because the second week they're older kids and they're not as close. You know, they're kind of like in their own group. But the first week the kids like just love you and they listen to you and it's just like awesome. So yeah, and the experience with the slums. The kids in my group, Israel, came up to me. He was without like he like didn't have a shirt on, he had like just underwear on, and it was just like this really heart-wrenching experience because I saw this kid with clothes, with food, he was happy for a week, and then like he found me while we were going in the slums with like, I don't know, it just seemed so fair, it was just like hurt me, you know. He was like grabbing my arm, you know, like saying hi. I taught him the whip and nay-nay. He was doing the whip for me while we were going through the slums. And that's just an experience I can't forget, you know. But what really impacted me, you know, all I say about was the worship, how we just give it all. And recently, my school did service projects, and on Friday, we were in a homeless shelter. And just those people's love for Jesus is crazy. The way they pray, the way they worship is insane. And there's connection because they have nothing. These people have nothing. So they can give more to God, you know. When Jesus says, like, it's harder for the rich to go into heaven, you know, than a camel going through, like, the pen or whatever. Like, we are those rich people. You know, we don't think we're rich, but we are, you know. And going to Ghana, you know, seeing them people, like, they can just give more to God. It's just such a beautiful, like, testimony. I was talking to leaders, just the adversity they go through. The one guy, like, was supposed to be on the national soccer team, but shared his faith, and they got kicked off for it. You know, it was just like, it just really encouraged me through my hardships. Like, I felt like my hardships were nothing because of what they go through, which isn't true, but it was just, yeah. So, yeah, those are my takeaways. Oh yeah, Israel pulled me aside real quick and he took me into his house and it was just, it was right there on the side and it was just a little like, not even dinner table, it was like a nightstand and where they would eat and on the thing was the picture that we did in our house. It was framed and it was a picture of our group with all these like little stars around it and it was the only thing they had on the table and it was just, you know, adorable and cute to see.
We made a craft. We gave them a picture of their team, and then they made a picture frame for it. So he was just really proud of it. I wanted to take and show it. So very sweet. We connected well with him. And then we didn't know this kid because I think he might have been one of those speakers on the bus. Although I think his sister is part of our post. So he's not yet sponsored, but I asked Diana, and she went on a sleuth expedition. She's our social worker who knows everyone, and she goes, I found him at this school, and he's in second grade. So he is going to school, which is really good. And he's in second grade, so he's probably 7 or something. Yeah. You know where he is now. Thank you, Riley. Sure.
So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sherry Ainsley, and this was my 7th trip to Ghana. I was there the second year through, I don't know, whatever year, and then got to go back this year after 3 years of not being there. And I could talk about so many things because I've seen so many things. I feel like when you have that longer vision of seeing from like this year until now, you do see the vision coming true. Like you see the vision of Arm of Hope as far as raising up leaders who are disciple makers. Like that's exactly what's going on. Sometimes I wonder how we translate that back home because we're always talking about making disciples. But so I was just going to share how I saw that at work specifically. So 2020 was the last time I had gone before this, and that year I prepared the lessons for the Bible rotation teaching time. We were teaching on wisdom that year. And with object lessons and everything. So I went and taught during the rotations. I didn't have my own color group for the first time, which was different. And Philip translated for me, and we were kind of co-teaching because he's really good at going and getting them to understand it from their cultural perspective. And so we had a great time teaching together. I loved it. And then in 2021 and 2022, when I wasn't able to go, I still prepared lessons. But Philip taught with Sammy the first year that I didn't go, and the two of them were able to teach lessons together. And then the second year that I wasn't there, which was 2022, Philip stepped out from the teaching, and he had Sammy bring another person alongside, a different Martha, not the Martha that they were talking about. This is another Martha, apparently a common name in Ghana, but Martha Majambi, and she was teaching with Sammy this year. So it was kind of like Philip and I together, then Philip with Sammy, and then Sammy with Martha. And then for me, I got to go this year. I did prepare lessons again, just because we like to use a lot of object lessons and like some hands-on things, and that's not as much their teaching style there, although I think Martha could probably come up with some things now. So what was fun for me is each evening before the next day of camp, I would meet with Sammy and Martha. That's Martha there. I would meet with them in our like place where we have all our supplies, and I would just talk with them about the lesson, kind of get their perspective on it. We were going through the 10 Commandments this year, so we were, so I'd go over the object lessons with them, and then what they were able to do was just take each one of the lessons, the two of them, and talk about them together, and then really, like, because we have like 4-year-olds the first week of camp, so they were able to take lessons like do not commit adultery and bring it down to a level for 4-year-olds. And then they were able the second week to go a lot deeper with the older kids who had a lot of questions, and even give examples from situations that they face. So it's like, because like if I just prepare everything and every detail of it, it's not going to apply to the kids as much. But these, Sammy and Martha are just so good. They have such a calm demeanor. They're very mature.
This is a video, I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, go ahead.
A little video of them. They were doing an illustration about how God uses marriage to protect you, and they're talking about, can you explain that? They were pouring the water over the
Just that covering, that protection. I think actually this was honoring your parents.
Honoring your parents,
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
To not step out underneath.
That's Sammy, so Sammy and Martha are college students. Yeah, now Sammy's graduating.
Yeah,
So
Sammy's
next year
graduating.
somebody else will come alongside Martha and they'll teach.
Okay, yeah, that's a good part. So anyway, I just think getting to see them in action, they were very soft-spoken, but they were very engaging. And like I said, they were able to bring in their own examples of things that they know that the kids go through. And for me, I feel like I love to teach. Some of you guys in here are my students. I love to teach, but I also know that like, just because I love it doesn't mean I need to be the one doing it. And so I think it was a very good lesson. Like, I'm not indispensable. Like, there was 2 years where I couldn't go, and what happened, other people were called to step up and do it, and they are amazing at it, better than I am at it. And so I love that, because I think we all sometimes need that reminder, like, we're not indispensable. Sometimes we volunteer for something because we're like, well, if I don't do it, who else is gonna do it? Someone else will do it, and they might do it better than you, and that's actually a good lesson to learn. Because God is the one who's indispensable, not us. So I guess that was
It's not about who does better, it's about us wanting to turn as much as we possibly can over to our students, and that's because that's the purpose, that's the thing. Here's a little message from Kaden. Sorry, it's not gonna be very loud, but
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kaden. A couple of you might still remember me. Imported member of the team, so I'm good this morning, and you guys get to see my lovely Saturday morning face. I'd say one of the things that always sticks out about camp to me is obviously there's games and there's songs, and it's a total blast for these kids. But being able to see how the teaching and what we're learning from the Bible affects the kids over the course of the week. So this year was great. We learned about the 10 Commandments, which are super practical. And at the beginning of the week, the kids didn't quite understand a couple of them, or they couldn't remember a few of them. But we, run them back and forth like boot camp until, they knew them like the back of their hand, probably even better. So by the end of the week, I had a group of 15 to 20 10-year-old boys, and so I could kind of drill them and keep them accountable on, what they were doing. So, they'd start fighting or calling each other names that sounded super mean, but I didn't understand what they meant. Guys, break it up. What's going on here? What's this all about? And, it's hard to believe from 10-year-old boys, but they're like, I don't know, it was me, it was I'd be like, hey, what's commandment number 9? And he'd be like, you shall not give false testimony and get... okay, yeah, it was... respecting authority. They'd be like, yeah, you're right, I think those would be good. So it was interesting to see how even over the course of the 1 week where they were still learning about the 10 Commandments, they were already starting to apply them and we were already helping them to understand. So all your support goes towards supplies and towards making camp happen. And obviously these kids have a blast, but you are also indirectly teaching these kids from the Word of God and helping to disciple them and helping them to glorify Him. So thank you for all your prayers and support for this. These kids are really learning, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thanks for listening to me.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Vandermeer, and this was my first time. I'm already going to start crying. My daughter Emily went the very first year, 10 years ago, in 2014, and so I've, been there. I've been supporting, all through these years, and, I just kept, seeing to show, there's going to come a day that I am just, I really want to go, and he made a way, and it was a perfect way because he's coming here, they're going in this coming summer, and it wouldn't have worked out. So I already look at how God provided that. But Cheryl had put together a slideshow of past camps, and Emily's picture was in it several times. And what was really cool is a couple of the students that she had 10 years ago that are now graduating or, in university came up and said they remember Emily. It's that impact that because, you're there, you care, you listen, that it was just amazing just to connect. And, I shared that with my daughter and, sent her pictures and, she just, she was like, wow, I can't believe, 10 years ago and they still remember me. And they sought me out. They're like, you're Emily's mom. And so it makes such an impact in their lives. So this picture here, the girl's standing right to the right of me, Florence. So I just really was asking God, again, I know several people talked about relationships, and that's what I wanted. I just wanted to connect, and I just wanted them to know that they're loved, and that, we provide money, but God is bigger than that, and He has done way more over the past 10 years than that. Of course, it has, been used very wisely, but Florence was sitting by herself, and I was walking, and I went and I sat down beside her and just started talking, and I commented, so Cheryl, there's a ministry in E-Town, they take material and make dresses, and most of the girls have their dresses on, but Florence has her dress on, and I complimented her on it, and she goes, I got it last night, and I love it, and I'm going to treasure this, and but she says to me a little bit into our conversation, she goes, I was sitting here all alone and sad, and you sat down beside me and made me happy. Just because of that. And again, for me, that was, why God took me there, just to make those special connections. And then, slowly but surely, all these other girls, it's funny, I had this book, and I would write down things because I didn't want to forget. They had shared prayer requests and about their family and their struggles. And, I just was sharing with them that, about God's love, about, that they're precious and that it's a privilege for us to come here and be there with them. And, and so, I said, can I take your picture? And, we got the picture and, and I would go around the circle every once in a while and I'd say everybody's names and they'd be like, wow, why do you want to know our names? Because, God knows you. And so that just really spoke to me. And the dresses were beautiful. I know, what a blessing. I think the next photo, here's a group. And again, Florence is in the back. And the two with the straps, that is Pona and Ponan. They're twins. And Mercy is in the light maroon and flowered, and then I believe Doris. But I mean, I just took that just because the dresses were, just an added thing for the older girls that year. And this is Fred, oh my goodness. So Fred was just sitting by himself outside of the worship center, and where we would do worship, and sitting by himself, and I just started talking to him, and, asked his name, and I was like, how are you liking camp? I love camp, and, learning about Jesus. And I said, asked him about his family, and he goes, well, my mom and dad don't know Jesus, and I go to church by myself. He goes, I want to be a pastor, and I want my mom and dad to come to know Jesus. And he sat there, I think it was Psalm 91. And I remember, it's long, and I remember going back, because I was like, wow. And he was, he read that whole entire thing, and, the impact that God is doing in their lives, and, and just seeing in the 10 years, it's full circle. These kids that were young, and, and I heard the stories, at the first couple years, how they would cry and get on the bus, and, and some, of course, they're sad to go. I mean, man, we're, have all this room to run, and, food and everything. But now they want to go back, and they want to share with their community, with their families, with their friends, what they learned at camp. And, I was just moved by that. And lastly, I always see all the videos, and I always said to Cheryl, I can't even imagine what it must be like worshiping with that many. And of course, we had the additional 150. So over 500 people are in this worship center worshiping that first week of camp. And it is amazing. I mean, the energy, the passion, the emotions, it is all for Jesus. And then our songs would end, and I'd think, when we first started camp, we were all done. But then the Wise Up and the second, there's a couple songs that come on after, and then they're teaching me, teaching me the emotions, because again, these are their songs that they've known forever, evidently. So it was just awesome to share that. So thank you.
Every year when we have a theme, I'll pick a couple silly songs on YouTube, and then we'll just end with those. The one we was about wisdom, there's a song called Wise Up. They were like, I just show up, please can the Wise Up guys come next year? It was from 1990 something, and I don't know, they're probably too old, I don't know who they are. They thought I knew them personally. They sing all those songs over and over. So, Mike.
Yeah, right, so this guy is, we would say maybe Emmanuel Elias, but over in Ghana they call him Elias. And he's a guy that we sponsored, and he's, this year was his first year as a leader. He was a camper last year, and this year he was a leader. And he's not a guy that gets a lot of attention. He's not like a big mouth, boisterous kind of guy or anything, but he pulled me aside and just expressed to me how much he appreciated being part of Arm of Hope since he was a little kid. I mean, he just said, you have no idea the difference that this has made in my life. And if it wasn't, he said, I hate to think about what my life would be like if I didn't have those opportunities. And he said, he looks forward to the time when he can he's starting college, and he wants to get a good job, and he wants to support Arm of Hope, he said. He really wants to give back. And so that was an encouragement to me. I mean, he's a guy that shows appreciation for what he's been given. Also, they talked about the competition between teams. So the competition between teams, like they said, I had to learn some extra colors. My name in Ghana is not Mike, it's Star Master. Because I'm the guy that oversees that competition. And I have some help because, so those are my two helpers there. They're Francis and Joyce. Joyce is the one who is going to law school. And the teams learn that you don't mess with Joyce. If you try and bribe Joyce or Francis, it doesn't work. But anyway, so the picture that was before this, one of the teams as an effort to get some extra points, went back through all the 10 years of camp and gave me the information of what color shirts we had, what the theme was, and what the memory verses were for the last 10 years. And to me, a lot of those verses were familiar because I've heard them recited to me. I couldn't have said all that, and I didn't keep records. One of the things I regret is that I didn't keep records of which color teams won which years and the leaders, because there's arguments about that. But yeah, so it was neat to me to just have this team come up to me and give me that all that information. Oh, it was Tonko and David that also, yeah, the other thing that is kind of a highlight.
Tonko and David's team
Yeah.
was the one that gave him all the verses.
Yeah, they gave me all the verses, but there's a video here of Tonko and David's team winning the talent show competition. That's been a highlight. Earlier on in camp, we used to show movies in the evening, and then the kids would fall asleep or get bored or walk out or whatever. And so we started doing a talent show, and so they're really good at that, and they enjoy coming up with different stuff. And so there's just a short clip of this.
So we give them a theme, so they had to do one of the 10 Commandments, and they either had to do like singing, dancing, acting. We gave them so they had some parameters, and we had 2 minutes. So Tonko and David's team won because they did a rap about do not covet, so.
But everybody knew before that they won. Everybody knew they won before the evening.
I know, as soon as they did a rap, I knew they were gonna win.
Yeah.
They also had the words on the screen, which took extra time. I wish I had the screen so you could see what they're actually saying.
So you have been there before, it's very similar to Wise Up, sort of like the same kind of thing.
It's something about focus on yourself and not other people's Oh, that's the end.
The one other thing that I would mention too is Stephanie alluded to this, is that a lot of times toward the end of camp, you see kids getting sad about the idea of going back home again. And I had one guy come up to me this year. He had a big smile on his face, and he said, "Starmaster, tomorrow I'm going home." And I said, "Well, are you enjoying camp? Are you having a good time here?" Because sometimes you get homesick kids that, are sitting around in the corners crying or whatever. "Oh yeah, I really love camp." And it was his first year. I don't know whether he was one of the kids that came sort of around the corner a little bit, or not. But he really was enjoying camp, and he said, "Yeah, I can't wait to go home and tell my mom all about camp." And so obviously he had a good relationship with his mom, which is encouraging, and it was encouraging that he was enjoying camp, and he enjoyed what he learned, and he was enjoying himself there. So that was, yeah.
So this is our 10th year of camp. 10 years. So we had a whole ceremony about that. So I thought I should show you what they made for Mike and me. Cameron comes over, he goes, "You got a citation?" He goes, "Oh, I guess in Ghana that's a good thing." I was like, "There's some great, social media pictures here that they found. But this is the age our kids were the first year that we went. But it was just neat. I mean, it's not really about Mike and me, but just to see God's faithfulness and 10 years. So yeah, it was kind of fun. So anyway, I have this now. Put it somewhere special. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we shared that you want to ask? We covered everything?
Did you tell the story about what Sam told you?
Sam.
Sam, the teacher, who was saying that things are going to change.
Oh.
I just thought that was so powerful.
Yeah. Sammy is the one who's been teaching for 3 years, and they taught about do not commit adultery, and they did a very good job. I said to Sherry, let's focus on marriage, because instead of focusing on adultery, let's focus on marriage. And most of our students come from good families, but a lot of, as Philip calls them, runaway fathers. and a lot of polygamy, and a lot of, or more than one woman in a situation. And I went up and I just told Sammy Martha, I'm like, the way that you're teaching this is so incredible. This is a hard subject to teach, but it's so important. And Sammy goes, well, you know, our families are polygamous. He said, you know, most of our families are polygamous. And I said, yeah. And I said, you know, Philip and I used to pray, always pray that you guys would come to know the Lord. But now when I talked to Philip, he said, we are praying for strong fathers and strong mothers and families. And I told Sammy that, and I said, that's what we pray for now. We pray that you guys, that's the next step. We have college graduates now. We're going to have weddings soon. Philip said he's going to be booked up every weekend. He's like, well, every weekend I'll be walking the aisle. I'll be walking the aisle. A lot of them don't have dads to support them. But Sammy, I said to Sammy, that's what we pray. And he looked at me so and he goes, Auntie Cheryl, we are going to do it. He said, we are going to do it. I said, what? He goes, we are going to have those families. We are going to do it. And that was another very special moment for me. He was so passionate about it. Yeah, so if you ever want to go on a trip, this is what I do now. So everyone's like, when are you going to advertise it? I don't really advertise it because I don't need to, because there's a lot of people that want to go to Ghana. And I'm really grateful for that. I also don't really want to advertise on social media and get random people that just want to go on a trip. I would rather take people like Stephanie. And Stephanie has been by my side since the first year. Honestly, she has a giving heart and has supported so many different ways in our home. And she's the perfect team member because before she even went, she loved those kids and was passionate about it. And that's who I want to take. So the people I want to take are you guys, the people who really care about the unattainable kids. So what I started doing, we have our team formed for July. We're going into summer now. We're going back to summer. Because COVID is finally kind of over or something. We're getting back on schedule. We're getting back on schedule. But so we'll be taking a team next summer, 2025, and we've already started a list of people who have said, I'm interested in going. If you're ever interested, I'll put you on the list. And then next year I'll send you an application. So that's kind of how I'm going about it, because I don't need to advertise, and I would rather take people who already love and support Arm Hope. We have 500 people or families that support Arm Hope, and I'd rather take those people. Not that new people can't go, but that's kind of my target audience. So if you ever want to go, just talk to me. Don't say I didn't hear that. Thank you guys so much for being here. I feel very lucky by so many of you who have come alongside. So